Today I want to show you how to configure a news section on your home page that will pull the most recent news articles from a main news page on your site. So in this section what I have is I have a column here that says headline news, and I have 3 stories in it, and then a more link that would take me to the news page, which shows me all the stories that I've published so far. Okay, and you could have any number of stories here. Now the configuration on this site, the way it would work is you can set up the configuration to control how many recent news stories you're going to display on this page or in this section of the site, and the default is 3. Okay, so what I've got here, I have set up a site with a grid, and on this layout here I actually have a space reserved on the right for ads, and my grid fills this space on the left 2/3 of the page. And I have in the first 2 columns I have sections of HTML, this could be any content, and in the 3rd column I have news. Now I'm going to open up the site through Pilot here and show you how this lays out. So I have a grid, I have HTML, those 2 first sections that we saw that were here and here, and then I have a new type of content called news. Now its title happens to be news as well, that could be anything. And then on my site I also have a real page, so if we're on the site, we look at this page, I'll see my news page, and in it I've created an inner page that has several pages, and the reason I did that is I wanted the news articles to display in the body of the page, not in the navigation. Okay, so when I open up this section here, we'll see that I have just 5 regular pages, news story 1 through 5. All right. Now the magic that makes all this work is what I've placed inside news. News is really somewhat like an inner page, but you can put links or pages or things in it, but typically what we do is we set up a jump link that points to an inner page that has the stories in it that we want to display in the news section. Alright, so to do this, if you're setting this up new on the site, you might have to do a couple of things. First, you're going to probably have to add type support to your grid for news, because news is not a default type in a grid. It's something that you hardly ever use, that's why we don't turn it on there. And then when you create your news item, you'll have to add type support in it for a jump link. And again, a jump link is not something that we use by default on our sites, so this is just a custom feature that you can set up. But once you have those 2 parts in place, then you can create a news page on your site, you can add an inner page to it, and load it with your news stories. What's nice about this is your inner page can be set up to order your pages in reverse order. So if I say insert new ones at the beginning, my most recent news articles will always go at the beginning. And so as I create new news articles, say I come here and I create news story 6, it will show up as the first item in my news section. News story 6. I'll put an abstract here and save it. And then once I have that, if I return to my home page and refresh it, I'll see news story 6 as the first story, and then I'll see 1 and 2 as the next 2 story with a web link for more for the entire set of news articles that I have. Okay, so that's it for configuring news in a flexible way like this. Once you have it this way, then you can move news around to any section you want, so you can just go back and reorganize your grid, which makes it nice and simple. So say I want the news to appear in the center. I go to contents, move news up 1 spot, and save it. And now if I return to my home page and refresh, I'll see my news in the middle. That's it for news. A bit more complex, but still simple and easy.